In today's video, we discuss macro distribution.
All by myself.
Hey guys, what's going on? This is Paul Ravella from ProPhysique.com. In today's video, we're going to discuss macronutrient distribution. We're going to talk about protein, carbs, and fats and how they can be distributed and what might be best for you and what might be some situations where you might be interested in changing them. So the question came from my Instagram direct message. My Instagram is here on the screen. So if you are interested in having a question answered, send me a direct message. What I tend to do is take screenshots, kind of compile a few, and then I'll do a few videos with them. So please be patient if I don't get back to your question right away. And the more information I get from you, the better. All right, guys. Also, be sure to look and see if I've answered your question. I've done, several hundred videos with this type of approach. So you can probably find a lot of topics that are interest to you just by searching my YouTube channel. All right, guys, so let's talk about macronutrient distribution. And the question is here on the screen for you to see. So the question is basically this: if protein is kept consistent, what are the possible benefits or what are the possible negatives of having higher fat and lower carbohydrates? Well, first of all, let's just start with what our body uses these two things primarily for. Fats are very, very important when it comes to hormone production, things like hair, nails. So fats need to be kept in the diet. Carbohydrates are very valuable for performance, and I find that athletes who are training at a high level or at a high intensity really benefit from a little bit of a carbohydrate intake. So I didn't really get that information from you, but based on what you told me, you prefer to keep carbohydrates a little bit lower and fats a little bit higher. Do I see any potential drawback here? No. What I would actually suggest doing is maybe one day a week, when you have let's say you're keeping your fats at 80, maybe one day a week you can bring the fats down, raise up your carbohydrates if you find you're not getting as much muscle fullness or if you're not getting as good of pumps as you were at another time. One thing I think about glycogen is that it can actually be replenished and restored. Our muscles are actually very good at holding on to it. Let's say you restore muscle glycogen across your whole body and you go have a very difficult leg training session. You're depleting glycogen stores locally for the most part in your legs. So you're still going to have good glycogen storage in your other limbs, your back, your shoulders, things like that. So you can replenish glycogen on a semi-frequently basis and keep fats higher because, as you said, it helps with satiety. You feel better, you feel fuller. Fats are more calories per gram. One of the things I find is that with a higher fat diet, it really creates a lot more opportunity for food selection. When fats get really low, it becomes really difficult to find foods that are high in protein, low in fat, high in carbs, low in fat. Your food selections become a lot more difficult. When you have a little bit more fat, I find that variety becomes a lot better because you're able to choose foods that might have a little bit more fat content to them. And so personally for me, when I'm dieting down and I'm reducing calories, when my fat number gets low, that's when meal selection becomes a lot more difficult, and sometimes food becomes a little bit less enjoyable because, again, you're really limiting your selections of foods. This is where things like meal plans start to really help. So what I would do for your situation is see how you feel with maybe a once a week or once every 2 weeks, or depending on your training style, maybe twice a week refeed where you bump the carbohydrates up, bring protein down, bring fats down to kind of counteract the overall calorie intake. Your calories might be a little bit higher on that day, but to kind of balance that out and see if that gets you the benefit that you want. My thought is always do what you find is the most sustainable for you. Some people love carbohydrates. Some people love fats. As long as we're talking about keeping protein and fiber pretty steady, your performance is good in the gym, well, if that's what's going to work for you most consistently, then I'm perfectly fine with keeping your calories in balance while kind of adjusting those two macronutrients based on need. I will preferably, with my clients and athletes, have them do something with their fats or carbs based on their individual preferences and needs, but I'm very open to the idea of, especially when you're keeping all other things in track, finding out what works best for you, because what works best for you is going to be what's sustainable for the long term. All right, guys, that's going to be it for me today. I hope you guys are having an awesome day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
All by myself.